The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or its sponsors.
All right, and welcome to Art Style Kamikaze, the show that's not always relevant, but it is always artistic. I'm your host, C. Michael Lanning, independent artist, done work for Hasbro Productions, Arrow Comics, blah, 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 other stuff. If you want to know more about me, check out landingart.com. That's Lanning art.com. Let's get into it. Tonight, I'm running solo, guys, so bear with me here. I did have some character design stuff planned, but unfortunately, my partner's not going to make it tonight. So we're going to have to do something a little bit different and shake it up. So one thing about art is learning other people's style. It's like learning other people's ways of thinking. And that's what it comes down to. If you're an artist, one thing that you have to know is how you think. You should be familiar with how you think. And like I've said before, if you've seen some of the previous shows, I think it was one of the weekly shows, I made the statement that it's really hard for me to realize myself. I'm not a very realization type of person, right? I guess I kind of think of it, if you've ever watched The Office and you have Michael Scott talking about Andy, and it's like the most unaware person of themselves. I feel like I'm kind of like that, right? So but that's how it is. But you have to start the way. You have to be familiar with the way you think and the way that you see things. And learning this and going about this, one of the people that I'm always harping about shape language. You're probably so freaking sick and tired of me talking about it. You're like, why am I tuning into this crazy guy? Because he's going to just talk about shape language. And yeah, sorry. It's what sometimes you just get these kinks in your head, and that's what you're just stuck on for a while, I guess. You're just fascinated with that aspect because it applies to so much. It applies to everything that you do, from backgrounds to main characters to whatever it is. So you get stuck there, right? But one of those really to help me understand shape language, I stumbled across some fantastic artwork by people who did Ratchet and Clank, some of the game art. And if you heard me say before, when I've talked to Jaden when she was here, that we talked about I kind of lean towards game art and what I want to do. However, my love, of course, my first love and the love that I will always cherish is comics. So that's nothing new, trying to establish that type of artwork in the comics. And no, I'm not trying to do Blender or 3D or anything like that. I enjoy the 2D medium too much. I appreciate that stuff. I have no harping on it. I am not whatever. I absolutely love 2D, but I admire some of the 3D Blender stuff too. So, we got some people in the chat, so let's hit this up real quick. Allison's here. So the kid is ditching you tonight then? Yeah, it's Saturday. What can you say? Mike is in the chat. Let's say, hey, Mike, how are you doing, sir? And welcome, JL. JL says, I feel like that with photo psychics when I talk about lighting. It's a kink that I'm stuck on. It happens, right? It's something that sometimes that's the thing about art. It's so multifaceted that even you can look at one picture, you see something different that I see, and it connects to you in a certain way. It connects to me in a certain way, and it's not necessarily the same, but we can definitely appreciate each other's. Photo physics, right? Okay. Allison says, dumb question. Do you mean to have the kamikaze splash screen up? I do, because I'm about to drop it and let you know what I'm about to go into. So here it is. One of the people that I came across, of course, was the Ratchet and Clank folks, and one of their projects is called Creature Box, which is Dave Gooten and others. That's all I can say. And the deal is that they're very shape language oriented in their designs, and that's what I kind of wanted to go over. I wanted to look at silhouettes, I wanted to look at shapes and things. So I pulled some images up from Creature Box, and if you haven't checked it out yet, please go check out Creature Box. Look on Pinterest, look on Instagram. I'm sure you can probably find it. And so here, now I'm going to drop the kamikaze card, and we're going to begin looking at some shape language. So I just pulled a few images. I actually own, there's about 3 volumes of their original designs, and then there's like a volume of their fanboy stuff where they do like Batman, Spider-Man, and we'll kind of get, I have some of those on here too to look at. But so first of all, so this is one design I thought was pretty good. I thought the silhouette was really good to kind of present and look at. And what we see here, I'm kind of, it's a robot with kind of a baseball, right? So maybe it's a futuristic baseball robot, or maybe it's just one of those gangsters. Allison says, I live by shape language for my art. Super important. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what's going to establish your style. And to give you kind of a hint of these guys, Scotty Young actually credits Dave Gooten stuff for finding his style. Now, if you ever go back and you look at some of Scotty Young's older stuff, like he did a Venom, he picked up the Venom run after Francisco Herrera, another fantastic artist that is positively probably my favorite artist, next to Humberto Ramos. But like I said, I don't like to pick favorites. Again, a quick recap of that. Neil Adams was upset with a radio host one time because radio host said, welcome Neil Adams, one of my favorite artists. Saying one of my favorite and not having a single one is like cheating on a girlfriend. That's how Neil felt. I can understand that. So I get that. So I kind of hate saying favorites because it seems like every week I'll find somebody new anyway. But one of my frequent artists is Francisco Herrera, and another one is of course Scotty Young, and the artwork that he did for the Wizard of Oz run in Marvel. And he credits a lot of the Creature Box Dave Gooten stuff for his shape language. And you can see when you see that Venom run years ago, it's not it's not a wholly different style, right? But it is definitely there was definitely a progression. He found he worked into his own. Dale said, I worked for Neil Adams for many years. Cool. That's awesome. So you probably know what I'm talking about. And Neil was fantastic. Neil, I will not say is one of my favorite artists because I wouldn't do that to him. As far as anatomy is concerned, he's definitely somebody that I look up to. Absolutely. So, but again, like I said, I lean, like I said earlier this week, I think it was like I lean more towards the cartoony stuff. And I can't tell you how much I actually learned from Neil, just looking at his Patreon and stuff. If it's still up, and of course we miss Neil, but if it's still up, he has some great lessons and stuff that he had on his Patreon talking about anatomy. And be careful, guys. He traces some things. So I know a lot of people have problems with that, but so anyway, like to get into that controversy. So I want to check it out. We're going to look at this stuff. I am nowhere near, like I said, a professional art teacher or anything else like that. You're coming here. It's kind of like those horoscopes, right? Like JL says, he definitely had strong feelings about how folks should feel about him. I kind of get that. I almost took my portfolio to Neil back in 2016. He was at in the Houston Comicpalooza. Luckily, however, I was able to check it out before I went to take it to him. So He definitely would have shredded me, especially back in 2016. Yes, he made things his through regardless of his reference. Absolutely, he did. He takes in the Patreon. He actually takes Ted Danson and uses Ted Danson. If you think it's easy to trace a photograph, you have no idea. You actually, it's not that easy to just trace a photograph. You can't just put a piece of paper on there. You still have to know why does that image make the image that it makes. And you can quote me on that. Why does that image make the image that it makes? I say, oh yeah. It says, no, never ask me to look at your work. And luckily I didn't. I did not. So, but he was at the table when I was showing somebody else. So that's as close as I was willing to come. And I got some really great advice from Isaac Goodhart at that show to really help me for sequentials. So anyway, so what I want to look at here, I have an image up here. First, I want to pull out the silhouette. So we're gonna do that real quick. We're gonna pull out the silhouette, and as you can see, I think the silhouette in this is very, very apparent. I'm not gonna hit every nook and cranny on it, but you kind of come around here. I'll tell you what. Let's add a little bit of music here because it's gonna be boring just watching me sit here and. Yeah, does that work? Let's see. I don't want to put music on that's going to put people to sleep. Although, if you do go to sleep in mine, I could give you some ASMR. And as we stroke this line, which wait, that sounds really bad. Never mind. So, JL says somehow for some weird reason Neil liked him. That's always good. Allison says, I got a critique by Neil once. He told me not to quit my day job and proceeded to tell me how my art sucked. He then pointed out some things I did right and did a draw over on my stuff. Well, there you go. That still works. All right. And this character has all the shapes. Absolutely. And sure, I'll go ahead and lower the volume. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know how this sounds to you guys. I don't have any earbuds in. I'm turning off the speaker. Let me know if that's okay. Does that work? Also said the scary thing was I didn't ask him for critique. I had just put my portfolio down while I was looking at his stuff for sale. Yeah. Whoops. It's kind of getting too close to the shark there. You're way too loud for ASMR. I could get low. Yeah, great. All right, thanks, Jim. So here we go. And then look again, and please feel free. Again, I would not consider myself a professional. I am nowhere near an art teacher. In that sense, like I said. So let's see. So here we go. I'm just going to kind of trace. I'm not going to hit the shadow on this. I just want to get the character. Some of the little dailies that are coming off of it, I'm not worried about that right now. I feel like those are kind of added in, and we might come back over them. I just want to get that initial shape. So here we go. Getting those boxes and those knees. Like that looks like they got some vents on those knees. And you kind of wonder, I would love to pick the brain of whoever designed this. It might have been Dave. I'm not positive. Oh, kind of mess that up a little bit. Like I said, I want to get just the basics here. And I might be getting a little bit more detailed. Isn't that something that you get into this stuff and you feel a little bit more detailed on it? And it's like, oh no, back up. Don't go there yet. So here, I'm going to hit that. I'm not going to hit the detail on that just yet. That's a lot. JL talking about Allison and Neil Adams the portfolio incident. OMG, Allison, that sounds so Neil. But still, you positively had to get something from that, despite it. It's just kind of like one of those things that you just kind of suck it up. So okay, so I'm gonna kind of come in here, hit this inside here, and maybe this right here, the holes as it were. See if I got that. All right. So this is a pretty clear silhouette, right? I mean, we could tell that it's somebody. It looks like they're about to whack. Either they're about to whack a ball or they're about to whack a person, one way or another. They're gonna whack something. Boy, that doesn't sound good. but they're going to hit something with some kind of baseball bat, some kind of club or whatever. So it's a very clear shape language. I want to kind of go back. I want to add, let me see here. I want to add a little bit of those things, a little bit of the little here. Some of the little flourishes, as it were. There, we can kind of see the wiring and things. It kind of helps to see that. Yeah. And there we go. Let me see. I want to see if I can't. It's not going to look great, guys. I promise you it's not. But I want to see if I can't fill this in. Is that going to work? Yeah. There we go. So you get a little idea of what that silhouette looks like, right? And it's very simple silhouette in the sense of its posturing and of its pose and things. So, you know, obviously this is that first instinct of what they were trying to get down, which they did fantastic at. Obviously, it's very clear. I can tell what's going on. And like I said before, like people have talked about when you did collages and stuff, well, the silhouette thing shouldn't matter because if you look at the silhouettes within silhouettes within silhouettes, as long as the individual silhouette is clear inside of one silhouette, it works. We've talked about that a couple weeks ago. So here we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I want to see if I can't break down the shapes. And now when you're watching this, keep in mind, I'm learning here too. This is not me, oh, I'm not coming to the table like, oh, this is what you should do. This is me trying to understand the shapes they use. And you have this thing called geometric stacking, right? Which is kind of like sometimes, for this instance, sometimes that will help you determine forms and details within your picture. So I'm going to try to break down some of this. Okay, so instance, we've talked about dynamic form, and I'm going to give you this here. Now it's almost like a rounded off triangle, right? I mean, if you come down here and then you do this like that, right? But let's not do that. All right. Here, it's kind of a box. Like that here. Of course, remember I guess from way, it looks like the shading down here. So here, it's almost, and this is definitely, of course, you have your circle or your spherish oval shape up here, oval shape here, oval shape here, this way, and so on. So, and then of course you have a box here, and then just your little rectangle. This is, now here's the thing: is this a box or is it triangles? What do you think? I'm gonna go. I see, and I wouldn't have thought this before because the first time I looked at it, it's like, oh, okay, well that's a box, and it is. It's actually, and it is. It's a box in perspective, right? Pretty much, like it's kind of like this, right? But you can also see the I don't know if you call that necessarily triangle, or you hit it like that, maybe. Let's see if I can. My shortcuts aren't working right. And Jail says, I think its profile is a rhomboid. So yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what you get. That's what I say. It's not. You kind of start off With the simple shapes and things like that, you can create your characters that way. But then you get your dynamic. Let's see here, like that, right? The circle, sphere, cylinder, those type of things. So yeah, so you're gonna, and especially with when you get more into it, you're just really gonna. It's like he says, yeah, the little robo guy is like all the shapes. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's why I say I think it was. I think that's probably why I chose to kind of. He stands out, right? It's just like you have your circular, and then here are pretty much like that, right? And of course you're erasing its ellipses. And of course, I'm really not doing this as well as it could be. But here, and when you go, okay, well, they're not going all the way through the ellipses, but you're drawing through, right? So by the time you're done with it, you might not use every last bit of that, but you're kind of coming here, maybe getting a little bit of shading in there, like that, right? Right, see, just like that. So that is but you're breaking down, you're drawing through. And look, see there with the silhouette, and even with that breaking down, but we're still keeping that silhouette. We're still keeping that form. Let's see here, and I'm sure, as far as this is concerned, this is probably. There you go. And there's your little triangle or pyramid or what have you. And if there is probably shapes I do not know the names of, or I cannot remember. So, but here you go, here, and here. And then we have some ellipses in here. Right? So with this, I kind of wonder, like, probably not, but you could almost do. Jill says, the shape's name is Sammy. Hi, Sammy. Does everyone say hi, Sammy? That works. If we had, now I could remember shapes if they were named like that. Shammy, Jimmy, what have you. So if you look, I'm wondering sometimes if when you look at geometric stacking, sometimes it's something like this will work. Let's see if I can get this out. Let me back this up. So if you look at, okay, so that's a triangle, and then over that you have a rectangle. So that kind of gives you your stacking, right? Your geometric stacking, because what you're going to do is you're going to take out that very edge of that triangle and get your shape here. And then why not? We're going to put in the ellipse. So let's put in the ellipse. Let's put a couple asymmetrical ellipses in there. Try to get that going real good. And here, there, So it definitely has all the shapes to it. Look, here's, and even still, while you're doing this and you're figuring this out, it's like your mind opens up. It's almost like a lock that just goes in there and goes, okay, this really opens up shapes for me to really take a look. So look, even if you can't do this, if you don't have a digital program to do this with, get you some tracing paper, put it over books, put it over art books. And I vehemently suggest, overly suggest, consistently suggest you get you some art books and take a look at it, especially if they have sketches and things like that. I have several of Francisco Herrera's art books. I do like Jim Lee. I wouldn't call myself a huge fan of Jim Lee, but Jim Lee is awesome. I have his art book too. I have Oscar Martin, things like that, and just take those art books and look. But look, not only that, especially if you do have a digital program and you can do this, check out Pinterest, check out Instagram, look at people's stuff, stick it up there. Yes, I see it. It generally is awesome. That's not saying it's not, but I gravitate more to that the tunish shapes. So let's see, and I'm going to hit this a little bit more, and we're going to move on to the next one because I there's no way by the time I get here, let's see, with the fingers are flat like that, which is also a technique for doing fingers. So Will's joined us. Hey, Will. Will says, "Hey, kids." So which has also been a technique for doing fingers. If I'm not mistaken, I believe, I think David Finch was looking at that at one time. So let's take a look at this without the. So you kind of get an idea of what the shapes are, what we're looking at, and So now we've broadened our minds. This character had a whole bunch of different shapes. So I'm gonna stick this in a folder because I'm gonna come back and look at it later to refresh my own self, right? So, and let's move to the next one. Now this one really struck me because of the flow. It's just. Well, I mean, it's kind of like a candy cane. It's kind of like it's like that cane flow. I'm sure there's probably a technical term for it. Would this be maybe the Tony shape? I don't know. Maybe we'll call it that way. But there's this. You just look at the flow, which is always very important. I do have some of oh golly. You think I'm bad with the shape names? I'm horrible with people names as well. Looks like. Will says it looks like Storm Aquaman Seahorse. Yeah. And Jo says absolutely, yeah, definitely. It's like a French curve, right? Yeah, it's definitely yeah. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they've got that idea from a French curve. Looking over at the French curve. Let's see. Oh yeah. So okay. So rhythm, right? Try addressing rhythm. The house said it's only a Tony shape if it's a tiger. Who can argue with that? Nobody can argue with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yes, it is only a Tony shape if it is a tiger. So okay, so let's look at this. Let's look at this. Now, Aaron Blaise, who directed Brother Bear, did a lot of Disney stuff. He did Pumbaa of Lion King fame or whatever the case is. He has his own lessons and everything, and he has some great sales on there. And one thing that I learned from his classes is you got that rhythm, right? So you just have this rhythm going. It's like, oh, and it's pushing down around here, and it's like everything kind of goes up and around, up and around. Like if you really look at it, this is actually a very simple design, right? I mean, look, come on, somebody Allison, I know you know what kind of dinosaur this looks like. Let's see, let me put it up so you can see it better, right? Like, I don't remember what these cats are called, but yeah. But it has that, it has a familiar feel to it. It's not a Dilophosaurus. What is this thing called? It's gonna drive me nuts. Anyway, but so you there's your rhythm. It's almost like a flow here. It's pushing you down this way. What does this want me to see? That's the curves. Oh, you mean the dino? Yeah, the dino. So this is pushing down. This is helping me take a flow. I'm hitting the flow here, right? So what is it pushing for me to see? Well, maybe it wants me. To see this the mouth right here, right? Look, because we have it come and then it comes out. Boom, and then we have this. So maybe let's say if we cover this up. Let me get something. So let's say we cover that up. And it might, except for maybe that. Thank you. I knew plesiosaur. Thank you. I knew you would. I knew you would know. Said I had to look up how to spell it. Yeah, I imagine so. I would have to look up how to say it because I probably didn't say it right either. Right. So anyway, but if we take that mouth off of there, it might be angry from its growl, right? But maybe it's pushing us to see the little teeth there, and it's like, this is not a plesiosaur. This is not a seahorse to mess with. But again, and I think it's really cool is when we look. So then we have, and here we have these dynamic forms, right? There we go. And let's as I said it as she would say it. So there you go. I feel better about it. Yeah. So you have you take like I said, you kind of look at it, and I hate to be real simple about it, but you take those shapes and it's just this triangle, but you're bending it. You're just back on certain stabilization. So you're bending that triangle, like, oh, it's a triangle, or it's a Rubius, or it's a Hagrid. I have no idea. Look, whatever it is, whatever shape it is, it works like this, right? So that's what we're doing. We're just kind of bending it. And so that helps. And look, and here it is here too. And here it is. And here, but look, we've added some, remember those contour lines we talked about? I did there was a curvy art style tutorial not long back. And I'll get back into doing those, guys. It's just been, I have some work that I have to get done and set, the end of the year thing. But you look at the, and while it doesn't have the hard edges like that, this also helps us with this is going to help us with our shading, right? To kind of get that idea of, let's see here, what we're looking at. And this, I think I probably messed up on where the light source is, but and that's what those shapes are going to help us to do, is to see that and see in that 3D form that we need to apply. Allison said, I had like 6 years of Latin because of Catholic school. I mean, it has uses for pronouncing classifications and dinosaurs. Yeah. And medicines. Oh my gosh, the medicines, right? Jeez. It's bad when medical professionals can't even pronounce the medicines that are out there. Oh, man. So when we look at this, let's say that eye is still an ellipse, right? We still have, it's still ellipses. Even here is an ellipse. It's like an overlapping ellipse. But then we just kind of take it and we cut it off here. And there we go. Let's take a look at that. See it? And bring it down. And we see the ellipses there. Even here. And it's really, I would love to show you, if you ever get a chance, get on there to YouTube and look up Oscar Martin drawing, because he'll hit this and this, and let's see, here, and then here. I just have this overlapping feel like that. So I'm learning this. I mean, I am nowhere near perfected it at any point in time. Never will say I have, but I really am trying to figure out geometric stacking. So, of course, and I also want to thank everybody in the chat and who's watching. Thank you for watching right here on the IndieComicsNetwork.com. Like, subscribe, share. Look, even if you're watching later on, leave a comment. I will always try to get back to you. And then if you're up early in the morning, I'm trying to do some live streams in the morning during the week too, while I'm just doing my regular work before I go to my 40-hour job, because you know what? Art doesn't pay. At least not yet, anyway. So yeah, so here we go. I don't think there's too much of that. There's probably more that you could say here. I haven't stayed on it too long. I think you probably could look at some of the shapes in here. And I would say probably there's a good chance that this was just a dynamic form and a little bit of an ellipse. Maybe. Right? JL says, I love when people are making art while I stream, and I love watching streaming while I make art and am not streaming. Awesome. You know, put it where we can watch you stream, JL. That'd be great to see. Michael DeFonte says, I thoroughly enjoy the Indie Comic Network streams. I'm glad to hear you're going to be doing some morning streams. I will do my best to catch them. The morning streams are like early morning. For me, I'm in Central Time Zone. So for me, it's like 4 a.m. in the morning. I try to go 4 a.m. to 5 because I got to get out of here by 5:30. So wherever you're at, if you're in Eastern Time Zone, that's 5. If you're in the Pacific Time Zone, I'm sorry. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And who knows? You guys are crazy over there. And JL says, I stream every Tuesday and Thursday evening at twitch.tv/AJL Draco. Check that out, guys. Awesome. I will definitely have to check it out. So, trying to end. So, here we go. So, I'm just going to kind of hit some of the basics on this before I go to the next one. It's really crazy because I was not planning on being this long. I typoed. It's my name. Right? There you go. Go ahead and drop it. TV switch. Excuse me. I can't even talk straight. Twitch.tv/JL Draco. There you go. Awesome. Very nice. I will definitely try to check that out. So I'm going to kind of we're going to leave this character with that idea, give you an idea of what we're looking at. When you look at this stuff, it's very hard to separate those simple lines, and you have to train your brain, right? It's like, oh my gosh. Training your brain is the worst. Why do I have to teach myself how to think? But that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. So let's move on to the next one. I'm going to put this in a folder. We can come back and check it out later. JL says it has many fugular shapes. And Michael DeFonte said, my first donation to support Indie Comics Network, $2. Thank you so much, Mike. We appreciate it. I wish I had some kind of thing I could really show off, but yeah, we did start super chats. That's right. Of course, I wish I had something I could play for you. I don't, but thank you so much. I'll have to find something to do something for that, I guess. Unfortunately, I don't have a NFT. I don't know if you heard that. Nina says, thank you for your support. She could say it in the comments, though. But she doesn't have to interrupt my stream. But, whatever. What can you do? She's the boss. Anyway. So let's take that. I'm going to put that off to the side. Take a look at that later. And we're going to move on to our next design. I lined up 11 of them. I don't think we're going to make that. So here we go. We have Laboon. We have a whale, fish creature. Looks like I cut out some of it. So we'll probably try to kind of fill some of this in. But let's get a better look at that, huh? So there we go. So, it's very obvious. It looks kind of like a whale mixed with and Allison, who does arting with Alley Cat on Fridays, and it shows up on Sunday Funnies as well with Randy Zimmerman right here on Indie Comics Network. Says, thank you, Mike. And Mike says, you're welcome. Very much appreciated. We love you, Mike. So anyway, so we have it's kind of a mixture of a whale with I guess piranha, maybe. or angle. I would maybe what are those things called? Oh man, you know what them fishes that have the is it angler fish? What is? Hey Nita, what is the fish with the light on its head? It is. It's an angler fish. Okay. So, and again, this is another one just like the last one. Angler, right? JL angler. Man, look, I'll probably learn this stuff, and look, I could do this next week. I could do this tomorrow and still not remember what it's called. I'm telling you that now. Allison says you got it. So, all right. So again, here we have another one that has that flow. We'll hit that. I'm gonna hit those. I love this. Oh, that would have been cool. Allison said I almost got one when I had saltwater tanks. Those are some beautiful tanks. Nita used to, and I'm sure she'll eventually get back into it. Of course, she lurks a lot, but she used to do a lot of. We had a 90 for a while, and she'd been maintained, and she was part of the fish club and stuff like that. So she was really into the aquarium fish culture. And then you freaking comics people came along, and that was it. It sucked her right in. So. Oh, but seriously, so here we go. So here's an idea of those flows. I'm gonna add a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit more of the silhouette. Unfortunately, I cut it off. Obviously, trying to capture this. And don't worry, guys. I do actually, while I'm putting this on there, I do own the creature boxes. I did spend money to get this. So, but and what's it? I love this here. Little anglerfish balls, and that sounds like it's going to be a bad clip that's going to come back and haunt me years from now. Anglerfish balls, just to solidify that. So there we go. There's your silhouette, and of course we have your flow, up, around, and keep that in mind. And sometimes when some of the stuff, and I try to train myself into thinking this way when I'm putting together a piece, is the flow on it. And that way I can kind of get a idea of how this character is going to run, or how this picture is going to flow, where my focal point is, how I want it to, look. And I don't know, maybe this is there you go. Like just kind of getting the idea of the flow of the picture, how it looks and how it moves. So that kind of thing. So sometimes it helps to just kind of bring back, just hit your basics. Getting those flows and everything are just phenomenal. JL says, true story, anglerfish males attach themselves to the much larger females. They basically absorb them and they become her balls. Well, there you go. Hey, look, and that's a rock fact. Allison says, I had 3 50s, a 40, a 30, and a 10 that were all saltwater. A 30, a 10, and a 2 for fresh. Golly, that is a lot. Oh, man. Yeah, nature is wild as fuck. It is. And what's great, because what was I looking at? When we were looking at the concept arts and things like that for it wasn't Fifth Element. It might have been part of Fifth Element. We were looking at it last week. When you look at those, and you could just see, I could just see like insects, like the roly-poly on some. Oh, what it was? It was the Matrix, right? It was the sea aspect of it, where you kind of had looked like a hammerhead fish or a hammerhead shark, or it was certain types of things versus the squid-looking creatures of the bad guy. I hate to say the bad ones because this is the point of the Matrix, but of the robots, right? So, Facebook user, can't get your name. Let us know what your name is. Hey, check us out at indiecomics.com or on YouTube and let us know who you are. And damn, how many layers you got going on there? I have a lot because I wanted to cover a lot. And what's crazy about art, especially when you get into Creature Box, is You stumble onto one, and it just sucks you in. You try to get out, and it pulls you back in, right? And that's exactly what happens. And that makes, you know what that's called? Good art. that's it. Yep. Alice said, "Yep, fish are weird. The alien from the movie was inspired by the eel." Yeah, yeah. The squiddies, aka sentinels. Right, exactly. Uh, and it has a second set of teeth. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Exactly. So, there you go. That's where you pull inspiration from. And you know what? Maybe I'll end up doing an art style kamikaze where we kind of look at like exotic fish and insects to really and break down those shapes. Wouldn't that be neat to see? And maybe that will kind of inspire us because you see, I think when you look at, and I said this last week when we were doing the Matrix one, when you look at space and the ocean, it's similar in its weightlessness and the way that it moves and so on and so forth. And so I think that inspiration from watching aquariums of fish moving around and seeing how you can move through space in this vastness really is kind of a natural connection. That's why you consistently see insects and birds and airplanes, right? Things like that. Because, well, and aerodynamics. But look, we don't need to get into that specific, right? Allison said, "I would love to do that with you." We'll see. Yeah, I'll have to set it up. It'll probably be next year sometime. But let's see. So we have this design here. I'm probably not gonna stay on this one too terribly long because I think it's pretty straightforward. You do have your like your little. Let me get this closer. I love this. Hey, one of the tricks, and I haven't mastered this either. And I think Proco. If you don't know Proco on YouTube has a lot of art tutorials and things like that. Some fantastic stuff. But if you kind of look, okay, here's this shape, right? So let's break this down, and I'm going to hit a more angular tone to it. And this is one thing that was taught, like by Proco, is using, or one of the teachers over there, whoever he gets a whole bunch of different ones. Is kind of using straight lines to get that feel, and I think that's what we kind of have here. Is you do have that straight line, that really bad. What is that? Oh, I didn't even know that was there. Let's say here, right there we go. And then of course you have your bendy triangles. Remember your bendy triangles? They really work well for spikes. And of course, give it your flow, your contours, and so on and so forth. I really like this because this here is kind of in this way, a triangle in the mouth. So now, and remember this, if you haven't heard this before, and this is your first time, sharp angles and things like that are really detrimental for showing danger and villainy and things like that, while rounder shapes are more lovable and huggable, right? You know, who doesn't want to hug a fat guy? I get a lot of hugs because I'm a fat guy, so there you go. Who doesn't want to hug a fat guy? In fact, look, Coca-Cola did it years ago when they took Santa Claus and they made him fat, right? They knew that the round shape was welcoming and comforting. By that sharp look, we'll give that to Krampus. So I'm not really going to bother holding on to this one, although I do think that there is still some to learn from there, but I kind of want to move on. And here we go. This is Frankie, right? This says psychobilly to me left and right. And this is the kind of stuff that I gravitate to. This is the kind of stuff here and the shape language that I really look at, and you'll probably see. But if you look at, I'm going to give you a shape. I'm going to give you a silhouette of this, and it's like a huge, just basic silhouette and rhythm here, and it's almost like a reverse ice cream cone, maybe, or maybe not. I mean, maybe it's about the same thing. That explains the polar bear. Yeah, that explains the polar bear, lovable looking death beast. Right, that's because it lures you in. Right, it lures you in, and then that's it. so, so here's my silhouette for Frankie here. Hold on, let's do this. Let's take this down. I'm going to ignore that other hand right now. Because here's what I want you to see. See that flow? See? Let's even make it a little bit even more. Let's make it even more simple. That's it. What is that, a raindrop? I mean, it looks like a raindrop, right? So there it is. There's that nature. There's that whole nature thing again. Really coming to play into art. And it's because of something that's we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing those shades of nature because they become natural. I know that's a weird word to say, right? When you're talking about nature, natural, crazy. But and so we can really revisit all that leaves. We can visit trees, squid, hermit crabs, whatever the case is, to really kind of get an idea on that. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna get more of an accurate silhouette on this. I'm not gonna hit the birds. I'm even hitting the little things. I'm gonna get a little in there. Ooh. And I really love this. To me, I'm gonna kind of hit a thin line around that. Even though that's kind of outside the silhouette, but whatever, I'm not. But, and I really I just love the feel on this. Again, this is why I want to really get my shape language. Because, like, for instance, Doghouse has more of a Disney afternoon style to it, which I love doing that too. Bonbot that I was doing for Cosmic Princess, that also has that type of feel to it. Pouches, I was able to move a little bit away from it, but it's there. But I really want to explore some more of the shape stuff like this. I really enjoy this. It's just coming out of the comfort zone. And this is the thing about that technique we're talking about. Yeah, you want to learn technique. But in the long run, you're going to have to learn how to break away from it. And there's absolutely no positive way that I'm going to get through all of this today. We're already at 53 minutes. So here we go. So here's your shape for Frankie, right? Very pleasant shape. And I think what I really like, what I really like about it is, I'm going to break him down into threes. And that's one thing, again, I'll always bring up the Etherington brothers. They have a way when you're designing characters, so you have a small, a medium, and a large, and to really kind of get that in. So I'm going to break this down into that. Right? Let's say here. All right. So this is large. Dale says, I freaking love the Etherington brothers. Let me tell you something. They are a service to the art community that is indispensable. Indispensable. They deserve everything that they get because one thing that drove them was seeing all the little things and learning how to do those little things and to teach us. And it is more than appreciated. And then they give it to us for free. They give it to us for free, and yet they still are able. So I have 4 of their art books over here. Unfortunately, I missed out on the last 2 because of certain circumstances that came up, and I'm waiting for them to drop again in May to finish up and get all that. I'm saving up my money, folks, because even though I can pull this offline and some of their stuff offline and it's free, it's really great to have right here that I can just go to my bookshelf right here, grab it, take a look at it, and learn some things. And I probably will be doing that on some of the early morning episodes of Art Style Kamikaze, where I'm just taking the Etherington Brothers lessons and applying them and learning them. That's right, folks. I'm just streaming my practice. That's all it is. So here we go. We have large. I'm going to say, okay, so this is either small and this is medium or vice versa. Right there. Yeah, I would say that's probably the case. So you have large, medium, and small. And then you have your character. But then you can reverse this around. Medium, or large, small, and medium. And maybe you can get something else out of that too. Like right here. I have no idea what I'm doing, but you know. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the large. But I think also on this right here, not only do you have that, we'll take that off. I think while the overall you have your small, medium, large. I think if we break it down, let's look at the face. It's almost like it's a collection of small, big, small, big, small, big, within small, big, small, big, small, big. You know, that kind of thing. So if you look at the face, it's got the small and medium, large feel, right? Even though that's within the medium part of the overall character design, in that medium part, we have the small, medium, and large. Folks, I am just getting this now. Completely honest with you. You were watching live this unlocking of my brain, looking at this. Because and it wasn't even the face that did it. What really got me was the arm. If you look at the arm, over here, looking like that. Now, I'm going to take the small, medium, and large. Boom. Just like that. Just like that. Leg, big, medium, small. And you're just breaking it down. And here's the thing about it. These techniques and these ideas are things that, yes, at first, you're going to want to apply them. And you're going to hate yourself because you're not going to get it right. Well, at least I did. But eventually you're going to practice this so much that it's going to become second nature to you, and it's going to be just something you pop out and you just do. I repicked up art. I found a sketchbook when I started doing art again, which is about 8 years ago. Oh my gosh! If you're just starting out now, save your work, because when you have those moments and you hit those walls 8 years from now, where you're like, I don't feel like I'm going anywhere, take a look back at what you used to do. And if you're not progressing, you need to check that out. But you should be progressing. If you're into art, if you are learning, if you're open to criticism, you're going to learn. You're going to grow. And that's what we're looking at, is learning how to grow. That should be your main push. Oh, let me pour some coffee. In case you can't tell, I've had coffee. There's no sleep for me tonight. But yeah, so we have the overall look of big, small, or medium, large, medium, large, small. And within medium, large, small, within medium section, we have medium, large, small. And within medium section, no, okay. It might get we might go down a rabbit hole now. So I'm going to hit this into a folder because I definitely want to check that out again later. And okay. So like I said, some of that was their original stuff. Let's take a look at this. Ouch. One thing that has killed me is cars. Drawing cars. I actually had a breakthrough recently in drawing cars. And Allison said, great stream. I was able to finish up my Tatara commission while watching. Awesome. And Sean DN says, hi, welcome, Sean. So cars have been a problem for me. And everyone's like, oh, you have the basic shape of cars. You have these triangles. What am I talking? See, my brain is in triangles for some reason. It's because I have a sharp brain. What? Okay. Anyway, and then so you start with your basic shapes on cars. Let me come up here so you can see what I'm doing. All right. Well, this doesn't help me. Completely honest with you, it doesn't help me. However, when I was able, and this is not a true center line, folks. But when I'm able to hit those contours, boom, boom, boom. Now, let's take that down a little bit. Let's add this. Come on. Let's hit that. Let's go with something kind of basic. And this is not going to be perfect, but JL says, I got to bounce, but I'm glad I could catch you straight for a bit. Well, thanks for coming, JL. Hope we'll get to see you again, man. Definitely check out JL's stream on Twitch Tuesdays and Thursdays evenings. So, Michael DeFonte says, I am working on finishing on the line work on the last page of my comic. Great. Man, I love hearing that kind of stuff. I really do. Keep coming. Just create, guys. JL says, thanks. Anytime. So here we go, and this is what so what's crazy is what ended and of course that's not the perfect car, guys. I'm sorry. I would probably use a little bit of reference on that, but that helped me to actually open up a little bit more about understanding cars. So and the reason I say that is because look, here we go. There it is, Batman, right? Batman, Batgirl riding, shotgun, right? Just chilling out. So here's another thing about it. Even though I could go with those basic car shapes, I can go with those rectangles and get those basic car shapes. I'm really fascinated. I'm not a car person. I'll be honest with you, I couldn't tell you the difference between a V8 and a V6 other than there's different numbers. So I was never into cars. Yeah, that Batman piece is, it definitely, it stands out. It is definitely amazing. And I think in this, you can actually see that where Scotty Young was influenced. Maybe not this piece exactly, but that feel. So yeah, and this is the stuff that I love, right? So anyway, so here we're looking at, so I'm going to try to break this down. And Alice says, wow, I even know the difference between that. So let's see. So in overall, right, I want to hit this. Right, okay, this is just not this. Okay, so that's just, I'm looking at it like that. Like, what? And this encompassing shape. And it reminds me of a carrot or a pea or something. Oh no, not nature again. But right, so, and that's what it kind of has a feel to break that down in. So, $1,000 girl, what's your excuse? I have no excuses. I have reasons. No, I don't. Yeah, I hardly have any reasons either. So, so let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna break it down a little bit more. We're gonna hit that silhouette. I'm just gonna hit the car. I'm not gonna hit. Even though their silhouette adds a lot to this. Well, and maybe I'll go ahead and add that in a minute. To really get that breakdown on this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There we go. And coming around. Complicated. I'm gonna hit this little bit right here because it's an open space. Are there any open spaces that I'm missing? Okay, so even though Batman and Batgirl actually do add to the design of it, there's your breakdown on your car, on your vehicle. In that, let's take that down a little bit. So not that. Not bad. So take this down a little bit. So, okay, so I have a breakdown of my car, how I want my shape of my car to look. Allison asked, who did that piece again? I believe it was Dave Jutin, which is, let me see if I got that right, because you know me in names. Dave Gurton, that's G-U, it's let's see, G-U-E-R-T-I-N. Now, this is what he's mostly associated with is when it comes to Creature Box. He's a co-founder of Creature Box. I'm not positive if he did this piece exactly, but it's definitely one of the artists that work on it. Dave was known for things like designing principal concept art for Ratchet and Clank, you know, that kind of thing. So definitely check his stuff out. Instagram, Pinterest. It's just amazing. This is for sale. These are PDFs on his sale on his site. Which, like I said, again, these are art books that I have. Unfortunately, I wish I had them physically, but I don't. But if I had them physically, I wouldn't be able to show this with you. So here's what's interesting is I want to show this real quick. Oh, cool. Allison says, I have the Art of Ratchet and Clank book. I'm going to have to look that up. I'm going to have to look to see if I can't get that. Because if it is Dave doing it, I would really love to see some of that. But here's what I want to kind of take a step back and look at. And this is not going to be precise, guys. But what I am looking at is this. Allison says it's worth every penny. I completely believe it. Like I said, I do not, even though I don't normally buy PDF art books, I don't like to do that. Oh, Michael, thanks so much. See, Michael, I checked your site. You are really good. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I'm okay. But I'm always striving just to get better. I just want to get better. And again, that site is landingart.com. It's LANNING art.com. So what I want to do here is I want to show something here. So I'm going to kind of get in here on a little bit of things. Yeah, Allison says, thank you again, Mike. Absolutely. So what I'm trying to do is because I'm about to show you something, and if you just look, just look into some of this stuff. You see right here, you have your triangles here, and so on and so forth. And guys, I'm learning just same as I'm doing this with you guys. I'm learning. Your ellipses, more triangles, more ellipses here, so on and so forth. But here's what my point is on this. Okay, I have here, from here, boom, 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 here. Yeah, and I just like to say, as far as the much appreciated super chats and everything go to helping pay for the StreamYard and the quality on advertising and everything right here on the Indie Comics Network, where we hope to showcase not only the people here, but also others as well. And our main drive is comics. And of course, it's not my baby, it's my wife, who I promise you, does a lot of work for this. Let's see. All right. Which, take it as you will. I don't think I'm biased, but it is my wife. So here's what I wanted to point out. I wish I would have done this with separate layers. So we have one side. Let me see if I can do this. And Allison says she is the bestest. I think so. That's why I married her. So here we go. I want you to see this. We have one side that is complex. We have a complexity to this one side, right? And now, let me take this back. Let's change it out here. Do this. And now, but the other side's not so complex, right? And why is that? Allison says, you can be biased. She's your wife. Exactly. And she's in the other room. So, so I have to be biased. But yeah, so you have one side that's complex and one side that's a little bit open. What is that open going to do? Well, if you look at the image, and let's take it back. Well, where's our attention want to be? Well, it wants to be on Batman and Batgirl, right? So all this pushes through. This pushes straight into that open space here. So wow, this is very complex. We talked about this in the concept art last week when we were looking at it. That I think it was we had Rocket in the middle, but all the complexity. No, it was the Matrix one. It's fantastic. Now that I think about it, just thinking about that overall, but you had that complexity and that rhythm of all the monitors and stuff, and it pushes forward, and it pointed to that clear area so that you could see those characters, so you could see that. And I really wish I could hit like that. And Jaden skipped out. Yes, I poor Jaden, she's not feeling well, so we'll let her be today. But next week she said she's going to come back and we're going to hit that character design. So we'll see. I see in concept, of course, I'm the okayest. I'm like a participation trophy. Yeah, okay. No, I don't think so, but whatever. A participation trophy wife? Wow. Way to demean yourself. So, but that complexity is pushing towards wanting you to see Batman and Batgirl, right? So you have, take that down. You have your opposite, definitely, as I said, lies, definitely the bestest. So we see, again, complexity is pushing towards the open space. It helps us open up the characters, open up to see this. So we're going to look at the design one more time before I move on to the next one. We're only halfway through. I'm not going to go too much longer. At the most, I don't do these streams. I try to keep these streams for under an hour and 30 minutes. Otherwise, I've run out of steam. I'll have my co-host here to help me. So my morning streams, I try to keep it within 30 minutes and an hour. I'm not trying to be as a Productions, which I'm sure is Tina, says, no, see, the correct response is, no, honey, you are a first place trophy. The bestest ever, LOL. So, there you go. Yeah, that. How's that? Does that work? If I can say just that? That. So, and here we go. And I think this is another, and of course, this is, if you don't know this character, this is Crocodile. No, I'm kidding. This is of course, Venom, which I love this. Venom is always I have very much fan art of Venom, and if you go to my website, you can see some of the stuff that I've done of Venom, because I literally like the language of Venom. I really like I think Todd McFarlane, who designed Venom, made the statement that it was kind of gorilla-esque when he thought about Venom. It's kind of, big, bulky up front, small limbs and stuff. Which, again, what do you mean, nature? Allison says, having trophy and wife in the same sentence could lead to couch sleep. Just saying. So let's hit this real quick. What do you say, guys? Let's look at the shape language on this. Or let's look at the silhouette. So I'm gonna hit this one really close. And there's just something to me that's aesthetically pleasing for this. I really love this Venom. I really do. Someone pointed out, made the statement that they have kind of a cartoony art style, and that when they presented it to Marvel, whatever Marvel said, that they were looking at people are only looking for realistic art styles now, and I'm not. I never have been. I think if you look at I think that's one of the things that manga actually has going for it, is that it's not looking into that realistic art style, and it's moving. But you know what? I'm not in there. I don't know. I have no idea. But for me, as far as my art is concerned, Allison said, I was told I wouldn't get hired because I'm too manga. Yeah, see, and I think, yeah, people are kind of hitting like, oh, it's the stories and things like that. But I think the artwork has a lot to do with it too, on why those books aren't selling as well as they could be. But when you have cartoonish type artists like Humberto Ramos and things like that, and those are selling, but you're still kind of hitting on, we want realistic look. I think you're missing the point. But what do I know? I'm not really part of that industry. I want to do my stuff anyway. That's how it is. I think that's what we all want in the long run. Like if they came knocking on my door, that's perfectly fine. I have nothing against any of them. I think that's missing the mark, but everybody has opinion, so I'm no different. But I'm going to stick to my cartoonish style. Why? Because I like it, and that's what I gravitate to. So, and there we go. Wow. There's something about that. There's something that's just organically. I feel it has an insect feeling to me. Like not like a flying insect, but kind of like a dung beetle feel. Maybe I don't know if it's looks like a pincher in his mouth. I'm not sure. Let's break this down a little bit more. So I'm going to kind of give it, and then you go, and again, what do you have here? You have that same large. No. Doggone it. Where is this image? Did not draw that on there. That would be me. All right. So again, you have the big, medium, small. Right. Here we go. We'll break down that arm because the arm kind of is the showpiece. Right. I would say that arm is probably the focal point of the piece. Look at that. So here we go. All right. So in that, you do have your large, medium, small. What kind of throws it off about this is to do, but what kind of throws it off about this is to really kind of think of this a sense of, all right, well, that all looks big, but within it's relative, right? So I would say this is large, this is small, and this is medium, maybe. And again, you could transpose medium and small, but they're each different. Well, let's do that. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm large, medium, small, right? So in that we're transposing, or that might not even be the right word, but that's feel. Allison says, my goal is to do a hardcore horror story with highly stylized cartoony art. I want the juxtaposition of it. Oh, yeah, excellent. That sounds great. Really, I like that contrary feel. It's always that's the stuff I gravitate to. I think that's the stuff that just, whether it's the stuff later on down the line, or it might not get looked at now, but I think that's the stuff everlasting that looks down the line, and when people are doing these type of streams years from now, whatever YouTube's doing, whatever art is doing, and they look back at it, and those things continue on. But here we have the large, medium, small. Once again, in the arm, right? Let's look at the piece. Oh, wrong piece. Get off of there, Frankie. Where are you? Okay. So we have small, large, medium. Boom. And we can include that in the large there. Just like that. Or how about this? Let's take this, let's knock it down. How about we
And then we're going to look at the shapes. Now, Bart Sears, and if you don't know who Bart Sears is, well, he's an artist. Duh. But Bart Sears used to do the Brutes and Babes tutorials that were in the Wizard magazine years ago. And I believe he was also an editor. But he has he has a style he calls it the bubble style, where basically you take the arm, like for instance, like I just did here for the arm, different bubbles. Let me do this on a different layer. Let me do it on a layer that you can see. So what you would do is you would I'll make the arm real quick. It's kind of just the style of the arm, right? All right. So with the bubble method, as it were, I'm gonna take down my stabilization, just really get it good and going. You're just kind of, it's almost that geometric stacking that we talked about, right? And you're hitting this around. You're drawing that draw through, hitting this, and of course you could do this. And the thing about it is, guys, you do have to know your anatomy for this to work. So, and this is not going to be perfectly right. I'll be honest with you, but I'm just kind of making an example here, right? So this is the bubble method, and it really takes into understanding the contours we talked about. Rogden, who's an artist on YouTube, and he's done some 21 draw stuff, really talks about drawing through, getting those ellipses, and they're really understanding that. So let's take that down a little bit. Take that off, and I'm going to add this. So here we go with the bubble method. And this isn't exactly right, but with the bubble method, I'm getting a little bit. I'm getting those forms. I'm getting that feel, that like in those creases and things like that, right? Here we go, and I'm really knocking. Okay, the forearm's not right. Don't pay attention to the forearm, but. And that's the thing. With that bubble method, it's helping me get the forms that I need to get. And getting those creases and muscles and, that bulging look that you always see in comic book art and the Muscular Men and things like that. Elbow. Oh, man, that's really old Tim Allen. Anyway. So that's, you kind of look at, and more of this bicep. I kind of honed in the forearm, so don't pay too much attention to that. But yeah, so I would even say on the Venom level, damn it, Frankie, that's what you're looking at there too, right? Is you're having those bubble moments. And again, at the end of the day, it's about how you break down how you think. No, let's do this. And it's all about breaking down how you think. So I'm kind of the square person. It's just, when I look at a head, getting the right angle on the head, I might end up using squares. I might end up, go back and see the first episode of Art Style Kamikaze and the Angry Art Style Tutorial, where the mean floating green head talks about, learning all these things, these techniques and everything, and kind of learning about how to think about them yourself, because all these techniques are just filling in your tools. I can't remember who said that, because I'm not the originator of that. I do not want to be the. I thought, you took that from somebody else. You're damn right, I took it from somebody else, and I'm giving them credit for it if I can remember who said it. But basically, this is and if I remember, I'll let you guys know. But this is basically tools for you to put in your and I think I'm remembering, but tools to put into your tool belt when you need to figure out the art that you want to make. So look here. So that you see this contours is giving us a really, or better yet, let me do this. Let me take it back here. We'll get another. And it's like this. I want you, when you draw, do me this favor. I want you to think about the other side. And instead of just drawing a line down, draw around. I want you to, when you're doing this, I want you to visualize your pencil going around the muscles, going around the form, that you feel it. This is not just a two-dimensional piece for you. This is three-dimensional. This is you tracing. This is you feeling that movement. And that's what I want you to do. Keep that in mind. You're just feeling those movements. I didn't feel that one. I gotta go back and feel it. And this is just Rogdon, Rogdon on YouTube. Like I said, he also does some of the 21 art tutorials. It's on YouTube, and I think he does TikTok too. So if you check that out, to kind of give you an idea, so you can look and feel it. So with that, I think that's going to be it for tonight. I have definitely run out of steam, but you know what the greatest part about this is? Thank you. Thank you for coming along with me and sharing in this journey. Thank you for the folks watching. Thank you for the for the donations. Thank you for interacting with me. You are now part of the process of my learning how to do art better. So with that, before I leave, I'd like to remind you, Art Style Kamikaze, I will be dropping whenever I feel like it. This, however, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern, Saturday nights are my main time. But I don't know. Sometimes I miss talking to you guys. And look at you, Mike. Mike, thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Thank you for yours. But this wouldn't be possible without you guys. So, Austin says, have a great one, everyone. Again, catch right here on IndieComicsNetwork.com. Tomorrow morning is Sunday Funnies with Randy Zimmerman. Check out Tuesday we have Fike It. Of course, Thursday night Throwdown from the Hasm folks. And of course, you want to check out the vlogs with Daphne and Nita. Whatever with Tina and Nita. And so on and so forth. Check us out on Facebook, right here on IndieComicsNetwork.com. Well, always find us there. Check out Allison's Arden with the Alley Cat on Fridays. And even if you miss it, also Mike Jimmy's Humble Animation. I think he's coming back in January. He just had a baby. So again, congratulations to Mike. And so, check us out. As always, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment. I'll try to comment back to you, even if you're catching this on the replay. We love our replay folks too. So, and if you're just listening to this before you go out, be careful. Don't get into any accidents. Be aware of your surroundings and so on and so forth. Have a great Saturday. Have a great weekend. And let's see. Next Saturday is the 23rd. Yep, I'm gonna be back next Saturday, and we'll do this again. So hopefully, I'll have my co-host. So with that, folks. Have a good evening, have a great weekend, and have a great week. See you later.
You have been watching Art Style Kamikaze. If you've experienced headaches, bleeding, or a pleasurable euphoria, please consult a physician. Unless you like that kind of thing.